I'm Matt from Wrestling Unlimited, here to review Payback 2016. And Payback. It happened. I don't know what else you want me to say about it, but it happened. So Payback. Let's just not waste time BSing. Dolph Ziggler versus Baron Corbin on the pre-show. Ziggler went over. What else do you want me to say about that? At least Corbin won the feud, is all I'm going to say. Kalisto versus Ryback, United States Championship match. Second straight pay-per-view where the U.S. title was not defended on the main show. WrestleMania. These guys had a solid match on the pre-show for the U.S. title. Again, there's not really much story to it other than one guy is big and one guy is small. And that could still work today. It could potentially work today if you give it the time, if you give it the care, if you give it the proper spot. And the pre-show is definitely not the proper spot. You can tell that at WrestleMania, Kalisto and Ryback were very, very angry about their spot, especially considering that they had to perform in front of less than half of the WrestleMania crowd. The crowd didn't even show up for the pre-show. They didn't even show up until the main show started because AT&T Stadium had their technical issues. You can tell that at WrestleMania those guys were pissed off. Here, again at Payback, you can tell that they were pissed off. And you can tell that Ryback was pissed and Kalisto was pissed. And looking back at the reasons why Ryback left the WWE, why wouldn't he? Because honestly, he got treated like crap. He got treated like he didn't matter. Kalisto got treated like he didn't matter. Continues to get treated like he doesn't matter. However, this match, it mattered. And you could tell that both guys wanted it to matter. And I give credit to both of those guys. Didn't even go 9 minutes and stole the show. Kalisto and Ryback was one of the matches of the night, and it didn't even take place on the main show. Props to both of them, because this match was hard-hitting, fast-paced, and it got the Chicago crowd into it. This match belonged on the main show. And of course, the WWE would follow suit the next month, and the one time that they were actually going to have Kalisto on the main show was the one time where he lost the United States Championship. Only fitting. But then we get to the main show, we kick off with Enzo and Cass versus the Vaudevillains in this number one contenders match for the Tag Team Championships. Now, Kalisto and Ryback definitely set the tone, and starting a show off with Enzo and Cass is definitely not going to hurt the tone because they're probably one of the most entertaining groups on the roster. However, you had this really bad injury to Enzo in this match. And the spot itself was unneeded. This is a normal tag team match. You know, you don't have to go above and beyond. And the spot itself was unneeded, and of course, it resulted in an injury. The Vaudevillains here win due to technical knockout, with Enzo being sidelined for over a month. That is not a good way to start off a WWE pay-per-view, and I know what all of you are going to say, but I don't care. I know a lot of you are going to say, well, at least they fired right back and gave us Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens for the 50th freaking time in the last 6 years. It was the same crap in ROH. It's the same crap here. That doesn't matter, and I don't care about it. And no amount of in-ring action and no amount of storytelling, even though the story's been the same for 6 years, is going to change my mind. I don't care about the Owens-Zayn feud anymore. If I wanted to go watch their matches, I would just go back and watch their ROH matches. It's just a waste of time. Really, nobody benefits from it, because you're doing the same thing that you've been doing for 6 years. You need to start launching Kevin Owens onto bigger things. You need to actually treat Sami Zayn like he matters and launch him onto bigger things. And instead, you're giving them the same crap that they've been doing for the past 6 years. That's pretty much all I'm going to say about the match. I don't care how good it was. I didn't want to see it. I still don't want to see it. I don't want to see it for at least a year. At least 2 years. I don't want to see it for a long time. So please, don't do it. Then you had Miz versus Cesaro for the IC Championship. Miz went over, whatever. Then you get to Dean Ambrose versus Chris Jericho in a match that is overrated because apparently botching everything you do results in a 5-star classic. Oh God. And you people complain about Roman Reigns and saying, you continuously say that he hasn't improved in the ring. He has. He hasn't improved in character. He has. And that Dean Ambrose has just taken a good character and has gotten better with it. He hasn't. He hasn't at all. And WrestleMania was definitely the turning point to that. But here at Payback, Dean Ambrose, I'm sorry, but his matches are starting to get progressively worse. And I know a lot of you cannot accept it, but it's the truth. And this match against Chris Jericho, yeah, Ambrose finally went over, but does it really matter? You've done enough crap with Ambrose already. Does one win really matter? Same thing with Bray Wyatt. It's like, ooh, he actually won a match. Does it matter at this point? You can't undo the damage. And if you can, it's going to take a very, very long time. And that's unfortunate, because at a time, I loved Bray, and I loved Dean. Now, I don't care for them, because they've been through enough crap where I'm in a position not to care, because clearly the WWE doesn't care. So, there you go. Speaking of not caring, as if Roadblock weren't bad enough, Charlotte versus Natalya for the Women's Championship. You could use this as a showcase piece for Charlotte. You can use this as a showcase piece for Natalya. Instead, you use this as a showcase piece for Ric Flair and Bret Hart. And not only that, but you did the unthinkable by having this match end the same fashion as the Montreal Screwjob. Was this really necessary? And do I really need to care? I don't. It amazes me that this thing took place in 1997, almost 20 damn years, and you're still doing it. And you're still trying to recreate and replicate it. Why? It worked in 1997. It doesn't work today. So stop trying. Please, just for the love of God, stop trying. And again, speaking of colossal wastes of time, Roman Reigns versus AJ Styles. Now, granted, this match was by far the match of the night, other than the Kalisto Ryback match that took place on the pre-show. Roman Reigns versus AJ Styles, the 2 times that they faced off one-on-one, had really good in-ring chemistry. However, that doesn't mean that this match wasn't an annoying match to watch, because of the constant overbooking and the constant overlooking of the talent that's actually in the ring, and the overlooking of the fact that this main event match was for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. You turn this match into a launch of the new era where you do the same old shit. That's pretty much how I describe this match and this entire show. But in this match in particular, you turned Roman Reigns versus AJ Styles, a match that doesn't really have a big story to it. It's two guys going at it, ego versus ego, title versus pride. And that's it. And instead, you turn this into a Stephanie McMahon showcase, and a Shane McMahon showcase, and a Vince McMahon showcase. And it becomes all about the McMahons. We're launching the new era, right? Well, I'm sorry to tell you, but the new era shouldn't include something that you did 15 freaking years ago. It's one thing to try and replicate something that actually works, that can still work. This doesn't. You've turned AJ Styles versus Roman Reigns here at Payback into an overbooked piece of crap main event. Their main event match at Extreme Rules was far better, and you could actually... Hang on 1 second. Sorry about that. You just overbooked the crap out of this match. And it became too much of a cluster and too much of a schmaz. You had the club come out, and then you had Shane restart the match, and Stephanie restart the match, and then you had Reigns go over, which is good. But even when he went over, all of a sudden the camera cuts to the backstage area where Vince McMahon is talking to Shane and Stephanie, and again, you've just completely devalued the world champion by making the focus all about the McMahons. Roadblock was a waste of time, and now Payback was a waste of time.